Welcome to the 2017 session. I'm Shannon Loehrke. We're going to kick off this session by highlighting two big changes at the Capitol. Control of the Senate has flipped to the Republican Party, and the newly renovated Capitol is open once again for business. We'll start with changes in the Senate. Following the election, Senate Republicans elected Senator Paul Gazelka as their new caucus leader.
I hope you see that we are 34 strong Republicans in the Senate. We have the majority, and it's 34 strong. I will tell you that the Democrats have 33 senators, and so we're going to have to figure out a way to work together at some level. We're going to work with the governor, we're going to work with the House, and we're going to do good things for Minnesota. But before I go into that at all, I want to give credit where credit is due. Senator Hand was our leader. We had all hoped that Senator Hand would be our majority leader, but he's not. But he did all the work, he did a lot of the recruiting, he went all across Minnesota. He set the agenda, he raised the money, and he's not here. And so that's a big loss for us. But I want you to know that we will never forget the work that he's done, and I will never forget that.
I recently had the opportunity to sit down with Senator Gazelka to talk about his caucus's priorities in the upcoming session. One significant change involves a new committee structure, and I asked Senator Gazelka why they've chosen to separate Health and Human Services issues into 3 separate committees.
You know, we did a lot of campaigning. Many legislators that are now legislators went door to door everywhere, and the number one issue was health care, but it wasn't always the same health care issue. One of them was MNsure and the premiums. One of them was how we deliver Health and Human Services care to people, and aging was another one. What are we going to do with the aging population? And so that's a big committee that we made into 3 committees, each of them having direct responsibility. They can pass a bill there and it'll go straight to the floor, but so that we can look at those 3 areas separately. So Michelle Benson is in charge of the portion that will deal with MNsure and medical assistance and maybe future Minnesota Care or MSHA, but all of that related part. And then Senator Abler will be dealing with the Health and Human Services issue, how we provide care from the government to people that need care. And then we have another one that will be for aging that we've got set up as well. But all 3 of them are important, and that's why we divided it out into 3.
Legislative leaders took questions from the press at the annual Forum News Service pre-session briefing in mid-December. The new majority leader hopes to change the tone in the next session.
Because I'm new and wasn't involved in the campaign process as much, I have maybe a slightly different view in that I think we ought to lower the tone of some of the things that has been going on the last few months. And it's because we're all frustrated and we want to get it done, but and I don't even want to blame anybody at this point. I'd rather just let's lower the tone a little bit and figure out how we can actually work on some of the things that we're all talking about. So whether that's the healthcare crisis, transportation, tax relief, bonding, those are all issues that we're all talking about, and I think we can get there, and that I think will be one of the components. You'll see a slightly different tone from Senate Republicans.
And the former Senate Majority Leader Tom Bach reflected on his new role as the minority leader.
You know, if you're 1 behind, you might as well be 6 behind, because the fact of life is Senate Republicans have the votes on the floor to execute whatever issues that their caucus can unite behind. So I don't know that we're going to have a lot of influence. The good news, I think, going in is Senator Gazelka and I think have a good relationship. I can't think of a time where we've ever had cross words. We served on the tax committee together for a few years. I think what would be helpful is for the conference committees to really reach out to the governor. The governor's going to submit a budget, and like all governors before him, they then will kind of step back. And the governor's budget will be taken through the regular committee process, and there'll be public testimony on it, and the legislature eventually will develop their own bills. But I just would encourage the 2 leaders to reach out to the governor so that in that conference committee process, we know what the governor is willing to accept and what he's not, so that we don't all get surprised after we all go home.
The Republicans last controlled both chambers in 2011, also under Governor Dayton, which eventually resulted in a government shutdown. Forum News Service reporter and moderator Don Davis asked if that outcome is likely once again.
When we're writing our stories, should we be using the term shutdown in those? Is there a chance of a shutdown, folks?
Why would you want to use that term?
In 2011, at this point, we were using term shutdown, and that certainly was accurate.
In fact, if I can make a comment, so I was there in 2011 and 12. We were in the majority. It was a $6 billion shortfall. Here we have a $1.4 billion surplus, so it's not the same crisis as we had then. Plus, you had a lot of new people in the Senate on the Republican side that never in 40 years had been in the majority. Now it's 2 out of the last 3 times we're in the majority, and so it's a totally different makeup. But one other thing I wanted to mention regarding the Speaker and Bach, the present majority leader, they both had conflicts with the governor, and it's how do we move from where we are? But I think the governor has good intentions, and we all have good intentions here. And in the end, if we change the tone a little bit and, like the Speaker said, continue to build relationships, clear the slate, I think we can do it, and I'm convinced that we will do it.
The skyrocketing premium rates for Minnesotans in the individual insurance market has been big news, and both Republican caucus leaders have said repeatedly that health care will be a #1 priority. Senator Loehrke began by addressing changes at the federal level.
What we don't know is how fast that process will be and exactly what that means to Minnesota. But in Minnesota, we also have MNsure that is still there, whether that changes. And so, one of the first things I know we have to address is the high-risk pool. We eliminated MSHA, Minnesota Comprehensive Health Association, and all of those people were poured into MNsure, which was a much smaller pool that handled that high-risk group. So that's why you saw rates going up as much as 67% for the small business owner, the farmer, the people that were in there. So we have to find, either through reinsurance or MSHA 2.0 or something, we have to have a high-risk pool that spreads out to a much broader group. So that'll be one of the #1 things we have to do right away. It's because of that I think all of us here want to provide health care premium relief to those that are in that product, because it wasn't really any fault of their own that some of them are paying premiums as high as $30,000 a year with a high deductible. So we're going to do those. Because it didn't happen in a special session, you should see that as the #1 bill out of the House and Senate.
Senator Bach followed up by noting that health care reform is an ongoing process, hoping for bipartisan collaboration to find solutions.
I am a little interested to see how my Republican colleagues are going to handle this, because they had a lot of fun with it on the campaign trail. And now making the transition to governing and actually having to find some solutions is going to be really hard work. And the Senate last year, and I wish them the best, and we've got some good quality people in our caucus, I think, that are willing to roll their sleeves up and try to find some solutions. I hope we have a better outcome than last year, because this problem wasn't new. The Senate last year in our Health and Human Service bill had 4 or 5 reforms we thought that needed to be made to MNsure. And in conference, we couldn't get the House Republicans to consider any of them. So none of them happened. So this isn't new to us. This is one of the areas where we're absolutely willing to participate and try to find a solution. I've got a neighbor that's in that individual market, and he's the first one, a little self-employed CPA. He was the very first person that raised this issue with me when he came down the driveway and said, "Tom, what are we going to do?" Back in October, when he found out what his premiums were going to be. So there are real faces on these 121,000 people or so, and I know some of them. And I hope we can avoid the partisanship at the legislature and with the governor and move beyond the campaign now and start to work hard on finding some solution, short and longer, for a serious problem in our state.
Because transportation, tax, and bonding measures failed to become law in the 2016 session, those issues are likely to be at the forefront of the upcoming session. Senator Loehrke outlines his caucus's strategy for funding some of these initiatives.
I will tell you that each of our chairs will look at every like health or K-12 or higher ed or whatever, and where are we spending our money, how are we spending our money, and we haven't looked at that in a while. The last 4 years, spending has gone up, I believe, 18%, so it's not like we've been cutting anything, it's been growing, and I want to make sure that we're using the dollars wisely. I can tell you that Senator Abler wants to take a real hard look at our human resource delivery and what are we doing? Is it efficient? Not the dollars going to the people that need it, but what the dollars are before they even get to them and how we're doing that. And so, so that would be one of the areas that I'm going to be looking to. Can we save money and still provide the services that we're giving to those people?
With regard to transportation funding, Senator Gazelka was hopeful, but predicted that any new bonding legislation will wait until the end of the 2017 session.
I'll be surprised if we don't get a transportation bill done with permanent funding without raising taxes, using present money. What finished in the House at the end could easily be similar to where we are today, but just like the Speaker said, the Senate also has a number of new senators. We have a new transportation chair, and we're going to want their input, but there's no reason that we cannot get it done. So we're open to a bonding bill, but it would be end of session, and somehow I think it will be tied to tax relief in a tax bill, just as I understand how politics works. And it'll be unique in the Senate that we need 41 votes, and we have 34 Republicans, so Senator Bach and I will be working on what should be in there if we're going to have one.
And finally, perhaps the most exciting change is the reopening of the state capitol building, returning it to the vision of its architect, Cass Gilbert. The multi-year $300 million plus renovation is nearly complete. And although the grand opening is not until August, the historic building is once again open for business and to the public, with beautifully restored paintings, murals and artwork, redesigned committee rooms, and more public spaces in both the basement and on the third floor. To illustrate some of the changes throughout the building, Department of Administration Commissioner Matt Mossman discusses how hearing rooms like 123 have been updated to reflect 21st century needs.
Well, the overall goals that guided the restoration were architectural integrity, improving the functionality of the building, and life safety. The work that was done here in room 123 is particularly indicative of improving the functionality of the building. This was a hearing room prior to the restoration, but its functionality will be greatly improved. For starters, it'll have a horseshoe table, which will allow all of the members sitting at the table to see each other during a hearing. It'll have better accommodations for the public sitting around the side. A vestibule at the front of the entry point of the room will make it quieter and more will be diminishing the noise as people come into the room. Prior to restoration, it was a little bit loud when people would come in and out of the room. An overall change for the restoration throughout the building is better and more modern technology. So that will certainly be true in this room with hearing loop technology that will make it easier for people who have hearing assistance to hear what's going on in the room. And certainly there will be monitors on the side walls and better technology so that the people attending the hearing can view the materials that the testifiers are providing to the committee.
One striking change is the restoration of the elevators to Cass Gilbert's original design.
The elevators actually originally had glass doors. That's the way Cass Gilbert designed the building. That was his vision. So while those of us that are alive today and have been in the Capitol have never seen the glass doors in the elevator, but Cass Gilbert's original vision was to allow much more natural light to pour into the building, as well as for those in the building to be able to be better connected with the grounds around the Capitol. Well, we didn't have any photos to guide the restoration of what the original doors looked like. As part of the effort to restore the architectural integrity of the building, a key piece of the elevator restoration has been to restore those glass doors that allow light to pour in from the elevator shafts into the building on all of the floors. It's going to be a really neat feature that I think people will be really impressed by.
Watch for more on the Capitol restoration on the next Capitol Report. We're now going to take you to the House of Representatives for their session preview, followed by their opening day floor session. Let's go to the House.